Did you know that up to age 14, your brain is highly susceptible to absorbing and internalizing any information it's fed? Meaning, almost anything that your brain has consumed, whether it's from what you've seen on TV or things your friends or parents have told you, your brain takes that information and stores it as automatic truth. That's why we believe in fairy tale things and get heartbroken when we learn that they aren't real. Well, maybe not everyone gets heartbroken. Some people probably didn't care when they found out that the Easter Bunny is fake. But I am sure that there is at least one truth in your life that made you feel a little off when you learned it wasn't the truth, or at least not the full truth. Our brains are like sponges, soaking anything and everything up because we're new on Earth. We don't know shit and take any form of guidance we can find basically since birth. That period of your life shapes you into who you are today. But as a kid, you don't really have much control over your life. Your parents do though, or any guardian in your life. They impact your life directly and indirectly. What I mean by that is they can directly give you information about anything, whether it's true or false, and you'll believe it with no evidence needed because they're the wise one. They know what they're talking about since they've been around the block a few times. I remember my parents always told me that I'll grow horns whenever I eat while lying down. I didn't believe them for too long, but I didn't want to take any chances for a few years until I was a little older and tested the theory myself. Turns out they just wanted to prevent me from choking on my food. They can also influence you with things they do without having to personally interact with you. I'm talking about their habits. For example, a habit I picked up from childhood was whenever I helped put clean dishes away, specifically coffee mugs, I would always put them all in a neat row from left to right with the handles facing to the right side, simply because I saw my mom placing them like that. So I thought that was the right way to put mugs away. Or another one that I didn't realize until I was much older was forgetting things. More specifically, I thought that forgetting things was cool. My parents weren't the cause of this, it was more or less during kindergarten and primary school. I was not part of the cooler kids, which means that I was taken advantage of sometimes. They would borrow money from me to buy candy and snacks and promise they will pay me back, only to forget to do what they promised. The same goes for forgetting my birthday, forgetting to invite me to their parties, forgetting to do their part in group projects, forgetting to do their homework and asking me for mine. You get the point. I am one of those people who loves birthdays and loves putting in effort for someone else's birthday. So whenever someone did forget my birthday, I would be a little upset, but try to understand their reasoning, which I learned later was an excuse. But being surrounded by people who forgot birthdays or their promises made me think that that was just how friends acted, and I automatically adopted the same behavior. I started thinking that to be cool meant forgetting things. It didn't happen immediately, but slowly over time I did intentionally start to stop putting intention behind things that involved my friends or family. I started forgetting their birthdays or to buy them gifts on time, even sometimes to make plans with my friends, or I forgot that we already had plans. At first, I would feel bad whenever I forgot something, yet at the same time there was a little voice in the back of my mind that said, I guess that means I'm cool now. Where I used to always put effort into remembering things and doing what I said I would do, at some point I started putting in less effort. It's not that I was actively trying to be cool and fit in by not remembering, it's just the habits that I picked up from the kids around me. They didn't really care about their actions towards me, and so I reflected that behavior towards the people in my life. That is also why it's important to be careful and mindful over the people you surround yourself with and who you choose to look up to. Anyway, I think I got a little off topic there. When I realized that I was forgetting things because subconsciously I thought that not putting in effort was what friends were supposed to do, I felt really bad and wanted to change that behavior. Knowing that that behavior was taught helped me to intentionally change that habit into a habit that I wanted to have. Nowadays, I do sometimes forget a bit here and there, and partly is because of a busy life, but I got myself a physical weekly diary to write things down and help me remember about plans and birthdays and things like that, because the calendar on my phone doesn't help. I just mute or ignore the notifications. I started thinking of ways to put effort into my relationships again because I care for them. I am changing the behavior I learned to teach myself to be the person I want to be. So, after noticing things about myself that I picked up or was taught, I could analyze them and decide whether it's a habit I want to continue or that I want to change or do differently. Do I want to forget my friends' birthdays? No, I want to remember them and make them feel special, so I buy a physical planner to help me remember and plan gifts in advance. Is it necessary for me to lie about myself to appear cool and keep people's interest in me? No, I want friends who love me for who I am, because coming up with lies and keeping track of them is exhausting anyways, so I allow myself to be myself even if that is uncool for some people. Do I want to keep placing coffee mugs with their handles on the right side? Yes, it looks neat to me and satisfies my OCD. I guess what I'm trying to say is pay attention to your behavior. Can you recognize anything from your childhood especially that makes you behave or react in a certain way that you want to do or view differently? I was taught to people please when I was younger because saying no or doing something differently was seen as disrespectful. So I always did what I was told no matter what throughout almost my whole life, because I didn't want to be seen as disrespectful or disappoint anyone, which caused me to ignore my own wants and needs. I couldn't even form my own opinions until later in high school. I always agreed with someone else instead of speaking my own mind. So you get what I mean? I can also go into how I was even taught to be straight, but I think that conversation would be best left for Pride Month, where I will be covering other things like my coming out story and how I realized that I was gay, which I think will be fun conversations to share. We are products of our environment, so be mindful of what and who you surround yourself with. Like I said earlier, as kids we don't have much control over our lives, but as we grow older we can understand and notice things that we weren't able to before. It's our responsibility to take charge of our lives and unlearn the parts of who we were taught to be but don't want to be, in order to become who we want to be and who we truly are. Thank you for listening and or watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one.